situation, whatever challenges we face, we can truly look to the one who has all power, and that's the man called Jesus Christ, who wants to give us above everything salvation, which guarantees us the eternal life. And that is found in only one person, and that is Jesus Christ. And with that, I say good evening today. It's good to have you join us today. We invite you to share the link, invite your friends, and there's so many ways they can join us today. There's Cable TV 974, there's Global 99.5, they can go on Facebook, they can go on Zoom, they can go on YouTube. I mean, there's so much ways that you can join us today. And so we invite you to take this opportunity to share the link with your friends, Jackie to say with your enemies on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Just want to offer condolences to families who have lost loved ones, who have buried loved ones yesterday, today, and persons who are preparing to funeralize loved ones. And so we offer those condolences during this time. Just want to remind you of a few things also before we begin, and that is, we had the men's march last week, so I hope many of you were tuned in. If you're not, then you can go on the Facebook page, Transforming Lives of David Williams, and watch the men's march. We considered a success in terms of the participants. Last year, we had about 200 plus. This year, we had a little over 500. So next year, we're going to double that. All right, we're going to double that. And we thank all of those, the Bahamas Department of Corrections Band and their commissioner, and the recruits, the cadets, Defense Force, police, Boys Brigade, the Crusaders Band, Shiloh Temple Band, and all of the young people who came out, Israel United in Christ, and all of them, the numerous men, and even ladies came with us in support, the motorbike group that came. And so we want to thank all of those who participated in that march. And we thank those who sponsored the march, helped us with the water, the Gatorade, providing for the participants. Also want to remind you today, 5 p.m., Men of Today, Men of Tomorrow, having a commissioning ceremony. So I'll be heading there immediately after the show at the Ministry of Youth. That's their building, their conference room, 5 p.m. today. So I'm inviting you to be a part of it and to join us. And then next week, our guest, Justin Raming, he will be joining us along with his guests. We'll be talking about protocols. Now, I know you've heard about protocols, the order of protocols. And so there's a protocol conference coming up, and they'll be our guests next week as they share more about that. And then you should hear from my co-host later. She has a program during the month of October, 28 to be exact, called Pink Rain. So she's reaching out to children. It's on the 28th, Saturday, the 28th of October. And so when Jackie joins us, she'll be talking more about that. Pink Rain. Special hello to those persons listening at the Bahamas Department of Corrections. And I can tell you, if you don't believe they're listening, when you see me go there tomorrow, Lord spare my life, they will be able to tell me what I talked about today. So for those listening in maximum, we will be there. And for those listening in medium, we also will be there tomorrow, 10 p.m. for the Prisoner Fellowship Program, the Listener's Way, which is a program where they go through the book of Luke. They listen to it, and then we ask some questions and we have a discussion. And so with that, I welcome you here today. Pastor Williams, Sister Share, I want you to also unmute the mic. She's going to share for 5 minutes, but we always have a segment where we begin. This is a Christ-centered program, and this program is led by Dr. Leslie McMillan, a retired Bahamian pastor, financial analysis who lives in the United States. And he takes the lead with what we call Moments with Christ. Dr. McMillan, welcome on this wonderful Sunday evening, sir.
Thank you very much, Dave, and good afternoon to all who are listening in. And I'm privileged and happy that I can be back with you after missing last Sunday. I was all the way in Maryland,
yes,
attending the wedding of one of my grandsons. And so I am full of that particular event. And in this moment, I would like to share something with you. If you heard it before, you will enjoy it. And if you didn't hear it before, we hope that you will accept it. It is what I call the secret of a marriage that would last not only for time, but for eternity. And how does that happen? To have a third entity in the marriage. You know, they say marriage is between two individuals. I
Yes.
strongly recommend a third party, and that party to be Jesus Christ. If and when Jesus is dwelling in the hearts of both husband and wife, as it says in Ephesians 3 and verse 17, Bible now, it says that Christ may dwell in your heart, and that means your mind, your soul, right? By faith. When that is happening with both husband and wife,
Yes.
I guarantee a marriage or union that will not only last for time, for when death pass both of you, both will be in Christ and you will be resurrected. And watch this, you will be united again.
Yes.
That is a wonderful thought. That's what I shared at the wedding, and I'm so full of it. I share it with you today. Have Jesus Christ dwelling in your heart by faith.
Thank you very much, Dr. Macmillan. As usual, the wisdom of Christ, have Jesus, the marriage between three, not two, in order to have a successful marriage. Yes, sir. And so I just want to also offer my condolences to one of my spiritual mothers. She's watching us all the way down there in the Turks and Caicos Islands. And for those of you who know me, you know, anytime you miss me, that's where I'm at, in the Turks and Caicos Islands. That's Sister Walters, she's on. Her sister passed sometime, I think, last week or week before last. And so we want to offer her our condolences. We'll pray with her. And I believe that I should be able to travel back once the arrangements are made. This is my spiritual mother. This is the lady I always stay with. Anytime I go to Turks and Caicos Islands, her house is open to me. And so just want to offer my condolences. And so today, as we get into this program talking about child abuse, I have Sister Shea from the family group. She wants 5 minutes to talk about an upcoming family event. And then we're going to go into our guests, Sister Shervonne Hollis. Sister Shea, open up your mic and talk to us about what's coming up.
Hello, I'm Bahamas. Hello, Pastor Dave. I want to just first thank you tremendously for always being so welcoming to our cause and to promoting what we are doing, which aligns really with what your platform is about. And it's about obviously transforming lives. We are about transforming families, about transforming marriages, as Dr. Macmillan quite truthfully said. We're about transforming communities, and I'm grateful to you and Global 99.5 for always being welcoming as our partners, and of course our Vice President and producer Jason Wisdom. So we want to just share. This week has been, as you know, just completely horrendous and it just seems like there's so many deaths that have been happening. People are just, just falling suddenly. And so it's been quite chaotic in all of our minds, and just reflecting upon what has happened. We know, of course, we lost our dear minister, Honorable Obi Wilshcombe, earlier in the week. And we are talking actually about an event that will be a tribute to the Honorable Obi Wilshcombe and what his vision was in terms of offering information, in terms of opening the airways to the information that will mitigate a lot of the social ills that we are seeing in our country today. And so This event will be on the 22nd, the 23rd, and the 24th of October, and it's called Family Protection Against Family and Youth Violence. And again, this aligns with the most recently passed bill, Protection Against Violence bill, that that the minister actually I guess spearheaded, and you know, many of the NGOs were quite maybe disturbed a little bit about the fact that it was pushed along, but obviously God knows why it was pushed along, because he knew the life of Minister Obi would not be here, and I know that this is something that he truly wanted. So we're going to be continuing the conversation, and this event actually is the second in our series of events. The first event was a virtual event, which we were very happy actually to have your guest as a part of, Shervonne Hollis, along with the SCAR's president, Debbie Rivers. And this event will be an in-person event. The last event was a virtual event. And again, we will be continuing to talk about prevention and protection of children and families, and all that encompasses that. There is so much truth that seems to be being suppressed, and again, in a lot of ways. And if we truly love our brothers and sisters, if we truly love our God, and we want to help to transform lives, help to heal hurting lives, help to reveal secrets that are really damaging lives and damaging families, we want to speak truth. And so this forum again will be an invitation for multi-sectorial partners to come together and to share that information, to share the information of truth that is surrounding the social ills that is going on within our country. Unless we speak truth, unless we reveal some of the secrets that, because we're not talking about them, because it may maybe damage someone's reputation or damage, and I'm sure Shervonne will speak a little bit more about that in her program, which I fully support and I encourage. But a lot of the things that are going on, it's about us not sharing information. And again, this is about a tribute to Obi Wilshcombe, because he wanted to share that information, and that is representative in him being called just before his obvious demise as Minister of Information and Broadcasting. This is what he shared passionately with us in lengthy meetings that he wanted to do. And so this is what this event is. We're inviting multi-sectorial partners to be a part. We got to put our money where our mouth is. If we say we want a transformative country, a country that will rise up from the slippery slope that is going down. And so again, this will invite conversations. We have wonderful speakers. We have Jacinta Higgs, who was the past director of Department of Gender and Family. We also have Dr. Dave Burrows, who will be a part of that. We have our consultant out of Idaho, who will also be a part of that. And then we have Dr. Adderley, who is a part of nursing, and she's going to be talking about corporal punishment, yay or nay, and that's going to be indeed a very interesting topic. And a number of other wonderful persons. We're grateful that you will be our moderator in this event, Dave. And it's just going to be really wonderful. And as again, this is actually again a tribute to Minister Obi Wilshcombe, and the proceeds will be for actually transitional home that we're working to establish. So I won't take much more of your time from your guest, but just thank you for allowing us. And in the coming weeks, we'll be talking a lot more about it, but stay tuned. We want everyone, private, civil society, faith-based, public partners to be a part of this event, because it is going to be a transformative one, and one that will open the eyes and help us to see more of the truths that we need in order to transform our country. So thank you
Okay.
so very much, Pastor Williams.
Okay, thank you very much. So that's the Sashir. She's talking about a conference, October 23rd, 24th, Super Club Breezes. As usual, I'll say, don't meet me there, you ought to beat me there. Want to welcome?
Exactly, thank you.
Yes, want to welcome all the way down again. There's someone else in the Turks and Caicos Islands joining us from Provo. I welcome her also for joining us. And wherever you are, I welcome you joining us. Someone said, I just want to read this comment. My guest, Sister Shervonne Hollis, no stranger, who has a passion for child abuse. Jackie is not on yet, but someone just sent me a WhatsApp, and so the number, if you want to ask Shervonne Hollis a question or make a comment, 433-6917. You can send me a WhatsApp at that number. Someone said, so person's on it already. It's a serious issue, worldwide cups for touching on this most sensitive subject. I think we need to move past the commentary stage and start to collectively put real interventions and solutions in place to address, mitigate, and deal with the effects of such a pervasive negative activity in our communities. So I'll leave that for there now. I'll leave that there for now. 433-6917 if you're listening by radio, cable TV, wherever you are. If you're on the Zoom, I can't monitor the Facebook and the YouTube. I'm sorry, because my co-host is not here, but as soon as she joins us, I'll switch. Shervonne, welcome to the program for so many times. It's good to have you.
Good afternoon. I'm actually here. I'm on my iPad. I'm having problems.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to introduce my co-host, folks. If you don't know what this is, Jackie Gardner. So I'll go silent from here. And Jackie's going to ask the questions, and she's going to engage in the dialogue, because she got a passion for children too. And her program is Pink Rain, but she'll talk more about it. Welcome, Jackie.
Oh, thank you so very much. Happy Sunday, everyone. Laptop is giving me problem, but I'm on an iPad, and so I'm trying to get this percolating. But it's good to have you here. As always, we have our special, our passionate. I love the comments and the feedback that we've received so far. And as we go through this dialogue, you would see why the description passionate. Ms. Hollis, happy Sunday. Welcome back once again to the show, Transforming Lives. How are you doing today?
I am fine. Are you able to hear me?
I can.
Okay. Good afternoon, Bahamas. And thank you again, Transforming Live, for hosting me on your platform as usual. Ms. Gardner and Mr. Elder Williams, and all of the regular listeners in the Bahamas, around the world, near and far. Thank you, Sister Cher, for your kind compliments. And thank you again for having me. So I'll wait. If you want me to continue, I will.
So let's just right out off the bat, because I like to ask this question, because we can't take it for granted. You are a child advocate. Who is a child advocate? Let's start with that.
Well, I would put it in the simplest definition. A child advocate is someone who speak up on behalf of the child, or I would say be a voice for a child in terms of protection. It could go in many different avenues. So in regards to what I do, I facilitate child sexual prevention training. So I create awareness, I create my platform, create education about child sexual prevention. As an advocate, I use my voice, I use my pen, I use my influence, and I also help to educate adults, empower adults about child sexual prevention. So I would attest and say a fighter for the rights and the protection of children.
I love that, a fighter for the rights and protection of children. So you mentioned your organization. Tell us the name of your organization and how long it's been in existence. And the effectiveness, how effective. So I'll give you a 3-part question. The name, how long in existence, and how effective from your perspective, your organization has been.
Sure, thank you. So my organization acronym is SOCR, and it means Save Our Children Alliance. I am actually a co-founder of the organization, as I said. It was myself, Cindy Gaudette, she's a survivor of sexual abuse, and Davina Smith. And they would have reached out to me, I think it was 2020 or 2021. And at the time, I had another organization, 242 Domestic Violence Support, in which focused on violence against women. However, I started after taking the training, SCARS training, and becoming certified. My focus then changed to child sexual prevention, and that's where I end up now. In terms of my organization, it's been around from, I would say, 2020, late 2020, 2021. And we started to, I am actually in Bermuda for those who are unaware, I'm in Bermuda. So I started to use, during the pandemic, I started to use a Zoom platform. I initially started with no experience. I started to interview survivors of child sexual abuse from the Bahamas. So I use my, like I said, my Zoom platform, and I lend it to the voices of survivors and thrivers of child sexual abuse, and it morphed into more of the advocacy side of it. In terms of my work, some of you may not know, but I have partnered with SCARS Bermuda, Miss Debbie Ray Rivers, who is a mentor to me. She's literally the expert over 11 plus years as an organization in Bermuda, and her and I facilitate trainings to my Bahamian people. And when I say my Bahamian people, I advocate hard. And I was like, Debbie, after I did your training, I want this training for my country. I wasn't sure if it was at the time any sort of training was in the Bahamas. So I did my due diligence and research. I would have reached out the first organization to Dr. Sandra Patterson. And what a lovely lady. And I must say to all of the grassroots organization, thank you so much for starting, or I would say starting what you've done and what you continue to do. If I can pause and digress for a minute, advocacy is not for the faint at heart and the weak spirited, and it's for persons who are passionate. And if you hear my voice, I get sometimes, little loud, but that's okay. I'm loud for the children, and I am seriously passionate. Even with my affiliates, I affiliate with persons who I deem, or I could feel that energy, and who are passionate about the cause, which is to protect children. So like I said, for the past, from 2021, we have trained almost 100 Bahamians, including yourself, Ms. Gardner, and a few listeners on this platform. My immediate objective for the Bahamas is to train at least another 100 before 2023. So I'm hoping to do that. Debbie and I, and that's why I'm here today, obviously, is to talk a little more about the training aspect of it and the knowledge aspect of it. And as I usually say, and it's a fact, child sexual abuse is preventable, Bahamians. It's preventable. What I think stagnates us as a country, or currently in the state that we're in, is that a lot of adults lack the knowledge, and I haven't been trained, so I can't, I cannot say, well, target anyone for that, but they lack the knowledge. But there is absolutely no excuse. The internet is there. I think everyone just about in the Bahamas have a cell phone or can reach out globally. There's no excuse. There's tons of information on the internet about signs and prevention and all of that. So I like I said, I'm here to speak a little more about a planned training that we have coming up. We had to kind of change the day due to our busy schedule. However, we are committed to conduct 1 or 2 training before the year's out. So in terms of my work, immediate work, I do pen letters to the editors, so you can type in my name. And I've been doing that from, I think, 2020. So I'm quite frequent in terms of penning letters. Sometimes when I get out of anger, I say, well, I'm not in the Bahamas, but hopefully somebody's reading and it's touching someone to say, well, you know what? I want to do more. I want to become an advocate. Or it could be a predator. Okay. It could touch someone
A deterrent,
in
yeah.
a deterrent to them. Exactly. And be positive in what I say and be responsible in my writing. So that's what I've been doing for the past few years as an organization.
That's a lot. I mean, and as you're going on in terms of, just mentioning some of the things, I think from where I sit, what I hear is intentional action. And one of the things that I think happens far too often in the Bahamas, we just heard about a recent case yesterday that had me in tears, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I think we, in the moment, in our anger, as opposed to responding, which requires intentional act, we just react. In that moment is the anger, the rage. And then when that subsides, not sufficient, because there are some persons that are being intentional. Not sufficient of us are really taking intentional action. You're talking about an upcoming training. That's something intentional. That's something where you can give persons advance notice and they can prepare to be a part of it. Tell us more about this training and what steps can be taken for persons to be prepared for the training.
Sure. So the training is basically to empower adults. And when I say adults, you don't have to have a child. You don't have to be a professional that I would say is a caretaker of a child. As long as you are an adult, considered an adult in the Bahamas and a responsible adult, the training is for you. Whether you have a child of your own, whether you have a family member, I think we all have a youth or maybe someone we know, a grandchild, a niece, a nephew, grandniece, grandnephew, and it don't have to be a relative. The whole point of the training is to empower adults to become responsible. We call them stewards of children, protectors of children, and the Bible speaks about being a steward in a sense. So that's what the training is about. The training started very briefly in the United States. It's called Darkness to Light, Stewards of Children Training. I think it started in North Carolina some years back. And it started out of a need. And like I said, when with a lot of the organization, it is out of a need or a lack thereof. So it was a group of persons who were tired hearing about child sexual abuse and whatnot, and they decided to form an organization which focused on prevention training. Now, we know in the Bahamas, there are many organizations that align with child protection, child rights, etc. However, during my research, what is publicly out there, I couldn't really find much that dealt with the prevention training of it. Dealing with the counseling side and all of that. We have the crisis center and a lot of very well-known organization that currently does a marvelous job. However, we need prevention training. So hand in hand, we need the prevention training. And also this training, like I said, focuses on adult side of it. So it put the onus on adult and make the adult responsible, more or less. And like I said, it don't have to be your child. I myself don't have children, but I love children. So you don't have to be a parent to love and care for a child or children. The program that I'm talking about, Stewards of Children program, focus on 5 key points. Number 1 is learning the facts. So learning the facts about child sexual abuse, why it occur, how it occur, and stuff like that. The second point is to minimize the opportunity, and I think this is crucial.
Yes, a big one.
Minimizing the opportunity, meaning nobody is saying that you can prevent every child sexual abuse case, but it's minimizing as much as possible through education and awareness the opportunity for it to happen, whether it's within your circle, whether it's within your community and your church, etc. So minimizing those opportunities. The third is talk about it. We know in the Bahamas and most island countries, we tend to be very conservative or secretive or talk, we talk what we want to talk, but when it comes to sexual abuse and these heavy topics that so much needs to be said, we tend to get a bit quiet, or we tend to say, well, what is said or what it happens in the house, we shall not, we are not supposed to talk about it. But we have to address it and talk about it.
We bury it.
Exactly. We bury it. And the fourth is recognizing the sign. Now, people might say, well, how would I know? Well, this training, trust me, after I did this training in 2020, my eyes, everything was wide open. My ears,
right?
my understanding. Yes, and my understanding of what it was about, because I never knew. And like myself, like many persons who probably on this call, or those, prior to being trained, you think of it as, we were taught the stranger danger, don't open the doors for strangers. But like I had said in one of my articles, the strangers in the home, the boogeyman has come to roost inside of the home. So it's much closer than we anticipate. So therefore, we have to be even more vigilant. And it goes from parents, the sibling. We see the other day a brother incests two younger sibling. I don't want to discuss that too much because it's still going through, I guess, the court aspect. But that really, really did something to me. And I must say, not taking away from person's pain, I thank God in my intermediate family, having grown up with 6 brothers, a father, mother, etc., that we grew up close enough to know we respect each other boundaries as female, male, but we grew up close enough to protect each other and, to know better than to do that. However, we cannot that model family is within every household, no matter what, you do have some households where you have danger in there from a father, a grandfather, brother, a sister, etc. So
and it can be on the and it can be on the female side.
Exactly.
Yes,
exactly. Females does it too. We've seen recent case where females were accused of sexual abuse as well. And the last but not least is how to react responsibly. Now I know as Bahamians, and I'm proud to say it, we know when to get hype and we can drive you, but we have to react responsibly so we don't escalate the problem. And I could say this, I know it may seem difficult and you may say, well, oh, Miss Hollis, someone do something to my child, I'm gonna kill him. But if you do that, you end up in jail as well. And the child is without a parent or parents or a guardian. Exactly. Right. So this training not only empowers you and educates you, but it's more like a holistic approach to prevention in terms of child sexual abuse. So it is a program. I'm gonna go to Bermuda where I currently live. It is a program that works. I'll speak for Bermuda. I don't live in the US, but I'm sure it works because there are over 76 countries that teach this, but the Bahamas doesn't. We gotta get with it. I know Cayman Island teaches it. I would have spoken to some of the trainers there. I know Bermuda and probably a few places in the Caribbean, but the Bahamas doesn't have this training. So immediately when I did the training, I was like, I want this for my country. I want to be able to empower, of course, to empower my country. And not only that, it happened at a time where the pandemic, there were increase of abuse. There worldwide lockdown, that was like the quiet storm. There were reportedly increase in child sexual abuse cases, along with women being abused. It was just a ideal storm for a whole lot of havoc and chaos with inside the walls of homes. So that was the prime time for predators everybody locked down, so we have to, like I said, we have to become stewards of children. And I say this not because I'm benefiting or Darkness to Light is paying me to advertise on SCARS. I'm saying this as a responsible adult. I'll take off my advocacy hat, and as an individual, a Bahamian that have lived in Bermuda since the inception over 11 plus years that SCARS training was here. And I have seen the mentality shift in this country. I have seen the laws have been tweaked, and I have seen, yes, I've seen a lot of changes in Bermuda. Thank you.
Wow. I mean, that's amazing. I think someone mic is open. That's amazing. And I'm glad that,
It's got a nice show every Sunday.
Thank you. Somebody, thank you. So we're so glad for the feedback. Yes, we're talking about child abuse, but can you turn off the mic? Someone mic is on. Thank you so much. We're so always glad to get feedback from our audience. And so in a couple of minutes, I am going to go to the audience and give you in the Zoom room. And Dave can let us know if we have any comments there. I think I saw one or two coming through. So yes, so you were saying the training works. The training works, and that's good. It's good to know when something works up front. So this is not guesstimate. We have real factual information that it works. So how does one become a part of this training? Ms. Hollis?
Absolutely. So what you can do, if you can get a pen or paper or memorize it or record, you can email me at Save Our Children Alliance, ALLIANCE, @gmail.com, lowercase, one word. I will try to put it in the chat before we conclude. Now, we haven't set a date because Debbie obviously does her community training. We were trying to get a date that's cohesive for both her and I due to our busy schedule for October, but we're looking at a date in November. So once you email me your interest, I can forward you the information that I need, and then we go from there. Now, with anything, there is a course. We are using a registered NGO platform out of Bermuda, which is SCARS platform. So all they ask is a donation of $20. $20.
Contribution. Donation.
Yes, just $20 donation because it's considered like international training. And Debbie cannot take her personal funding from Bermuda, which is for the Bermudian community to train the Bahamas. Now, we have done it in the past. We have herself, and me have taken, I shouldn't say this, but our personal funds. That's how passionate we were about it.
Right,
and we have sponsored, yes, we had sponsors a few persons to get trained. So like I always tell people, we've trained about 98 to be exact Bahamians. If each person, like we say, each one teach one, or teach one, each one teach one, if we could get each person who may have done the training before to pay it forward for someone else who may want to do it and may not have the $20. So if we can do that, imagine how widespread this can be. Now, the national, the national statistic of what we target in terms of the amount of adult to be trained in order to see an impact, it's about 5% of the adult population. So just 5%. Now, the reason why I love SCARS model, which is a 3-hour training, the training is a 3-hour training. It will have to be virtual. We are unable to come to the Bahamas at this time due to our, like I said, our conflicting schedule. So it will have to be virtual. It's just 3 hours of your time on Zoom. It's a private, so once you signed up, you're in the room. If you don't sign up, you're not in the room. You pay your $20, and then we will have you in the room on the training. It's 3 hours of your time. You have to keep your video on. We want to see that you're there. Now, we do give guidelines. We ask that you not have your children. So we'll send all of that, not your children in the room, because the videos themselves and the training gets very, very sensitive. And we have survivors that talk up their story, and we don't want kids to be exposed to that sort of stuff. However, After the training, also you get a certification. So this is something you can add to your professional education in terms of those who are like professionals, police officers, attorneys, nurses, doctors, in those professional setting. It can go as additional CEU points and different stuff like that, CEU points within the Bahamas. So like professional, education, stuff like that. So you do get a certification for your time. So you're not just being trained and say, well, it's there. Now we do ask
So
you.
just one second for us. So you do the training. At the end of
Yeah.
that training, are you known as now a child advocate? Are you known, what certification do you receive? Just so persons.
Yeah, so the training, you become what we call a steward of children. That means you would know. I wouldn't say an advocate, because an advocate is something you do passionately
And fight.
if you want to
use
go
your
into
fight word.
Yeah, if you want to go into that. However, you would be well informed about all aspects of child sexual abuse prevention. And I use that word prevention because rather than you waiting for it to happen or say, well, okay, anyone come, I'll fight them off, this and that. You would know the responsible way of reacting. God forbid anything may happen to someone a family member, a loved one, etc. But prevention is better than cure, like we always say, even the health.
Yep. And that's a proactive approach. So that's what you want.
Exactly.
You want focus. That most of your focus need to be proactive. Let's try to avoid. Yes.
Exactly. And like I said, listen to your gut feeling too. If something a little off, it doesn't hurt. I'm not saying that every adult, it will attack a child or harm a child. But if you have that gut feeling, that, like we say, that intuition, then, pray on it, but follow it up, watch it. Another thing, when it comes to children, I know when I was younger, we always tell in Bahamas, I realized Bermuda is just like us. So the cultures, even though different, the older folks always say children should be seen, not heard, right? Now, if you keep telling a child, oh, go sit down, go in the room, adults talking, not saying a child must, be, disrespectful or disobedient, but the point is a child could be trying to relay something to you uncomfortable. Right. But because you shut them out or you don't have the time to listen to them, they could be forewarning you about maybe something that's happening, maybe something that's uncomfortable. So we have to get in the habit of allowing children and listening to children. I love just sitting down, listening to these little people because they're so advanced and so much things they say. And sometimes you wonder like, gee, this child been here a long time, But like I said, you have to, they're human beings. They have rights. They have rights just like us adults. They have rights. And their right should be to voice their opinion and to talk. If they feel uncomfortable around an adult, and you remember this during training, Jackie, that, they may, like Debbie said, she thought she was being the right mother by telling her children to hug their grandfather. Unbeknown to her, he was abusing them. So a lot of times we say, go hug people, and the child might say, not saying, every situation, because some children are just shy or etc. However, we have to be more vigilant, and through this training, it puts that on you. Trust me, you pick up on stuff. I know I did. I've learned a lot, and I pick up on things, and I educate my niece and nephew, those who have children, and I try to educate my family. Some of them have done the training, but I tell them, do not take anything for granted, because child sexual predators have no respecter of person. Whether you're through life at Key Gate, whether you're over the hill, whether you're black, you're white, it doesn't matter. Predators are everywhere, from in the pulpit to in the House of Parliament to in the streets. So we no longer can be, and no disrespect to anyone, but this reality, I believe in saying what is truthful. We cannot tell who are, it could be the most well-dressed, well-spoken, a godparent, like we said, a sibling. We don't know. So it's better to be prepared than unprepared. That's my thing. It's best to be prepared than unprepared.
Yes, and I do agree. No respect of persons. And one of the things that you just, I mean, as I'm thinking and listening to you explain passionately the details, I just want, I mean, parents. So you're talking about getting this information and about awareness. Mm-hmm. So one of the responsibilities of parents is when you have this information, you need to be around, available, right? Exactly. It's no use having the information and the child does not have access. Now, I know a lot of parents, you know, in this model now, persons are working night and day. And I think when they did some of the research in terms of some of the abuse that we experience is because, you know, the lack, some single parent, they have to work 2 jobs and, you know, no adult in the home, things of that nature. Mm-hmm. But it's very, very wild. We have this captive audience for parents to know that you must have a relationship. Just like Debbie was saying, you must have a relationship with your children. Talk a little bit about that, and then we'll go to the Zoom room to see if we have any questions. Talk about the importance of building a relationship with our children.
Well, building a relationship not only with your child, but with your, I would say, persons around you. You have to have a open dialogue. And one thing we need to stop doing, and like I said, it's just a taboo in some of our countries, where we are afraid to say penis. We're afraid to say vagina. I am sorry if I am being a little abrupt, but we're afraid to call the sexual parts for what they are. We call them cookie. We call them various words, you know, in the Bahamian vernacular. But during, I would say, one part of the video where this child was telling her teacher that her daddy touched her cookie or something of that sort. And the teacher thought she meant the cookie that you eat. All right. The while, or ate her cookie or something like that, you know, or only to find out the child was saying her dad was performing oral sex on her. So right. This training, like I said, I cannot talk enough. I cannot speak enough about the training. I would say there is no need to be lack thereof of education. Get trained, Bahamians. Get empowered. You know, the next child you save may be somebody else. It could be your own. But you know, it's no need to be void of awareness and education on child sexual abuse prevention. We have been bringing this to, like I said, the Bahamas through my efforts and convincing Debbie. She's a busy woman like myself, but she is passionate about her job and helping us as a country. So we're willing to do the training. If you have an organization and want to get together, we normally do 30 per, I would say, virtual training, just so we don't have, you know, so much in the room. Right. And obviously it's an interactive training. Yes, it's interactive. So we ask questions and we try to engage. So we want to be able to ensure that every one question has been answered. So if you want to get a group and would like for us to do a training with a group of probably 30 persons, 20 to 30, we can do that. Like I said, just email me at saveourchildrenalliance@gmail.com. I will be more than happy to forward you the information.
Wow. So they said, thank you so very much. I mean, it's that very same passion that you have, Ms. Hollis, that drove me to the computer to do that training course with you. And I can attest that it was life-changing. And it is that same passion that now brings me that roll forward to October 28th. What is going down? An experience. It's not an event, an experience called Pink Rain. And we have this every year. It's an experience from MG Rebirth Mentoring Ministry. And I'm the president of that. And we have some persons that are listening that are part of that ministry. And it is as a result of one of these same conversations, Ms. Hollis. So I want you to know that your work is not going unnoticed. You're not sounding on just deaf boards. Persons are listening. I listened. And as a result of that, when we came together for the agenda for Pink Rain, normally we are praying for persons with diseases and illnesses. So like cancer, heart disease. But we thought it fitting that to add to our focus will be child abuse. And I'm telling you, this is going to be a transformative, powerful time for our children. We've already reached out to our homes. They're all excited. We've already started to get some response. They're on board. All roads will lead to Legacy Church. That's where it's happening. Legacy Church in the 242. Like I said, grab your calendar, please, please. It is October 28th. That's a Saturday morning at 8 a.m. You would notice on Facebook, the posters are being shared. We've already started praying in earnest for this event because we believe that God is going to be at the center of it all and God will make the difference. That's what's going to make. We're going to take it from a spiritual perspective. And we know all that is physical, spiritual, they all work together as one to give, that complete healing. And so we want to take this moment once again to invite the entire Bahamas. Please, please, October 28th, make your way down to Legacy Church at 8 a.m. We're going to have an experience plan with our children, not just our children. Like I said, we will be dealing with abuse for our children, but also we'll be dealing with cancer. We'll be giving information on hope. And then after this event, this experience, we'll be having breakfast. So you're going to be staying with us for a while. So please, please, please join with us. Now you might say, how can I help with even with regards to that event? We're looking for sponsors. We need food. We're looking for counselors. We want them on spot. We're asking for intercessors to join in with us. We want them on the spot because we are moving upward and forward and onward together towards one goal. That is to heal our children, heal and encourage our children, and to bring healing and help to those with diseases. And so, like I said, this was birthed out of the passion. I'm taking it right back to you, Miss Hollis, out of the passion of someone like you. I'm coming on the show. And each time you came on the show, you came with the same intensity, the same consistency, all about our children. And each time you come on the show, I'm disturbed by it. I leave like, oh my goodness, how can someone in Bermuda be more aware of me living here in the Bahamas, of all these things that are happening in my very beloved 242. So Bahamas, let's get on board. We're talking right now about training. And like she said, it's going to be in November. She's just here now trying to give information ahead of time so that we can organize ourselves. So go to your pastor. If you're part of an organization, a church, a civic organization, you're part of a school body, go to your headmistress and say, hey, we need to be a part of the training. Yeah. It is simple. What you say the cost is again? $20?
$20, yeah.
$20. I am going to pay it forward. I've been a part of that. So I'm definitely, MG Rebirth is already on board. And I will be happy if someone wants to reach out and say, Miss Gardner, I heard you on the radio. I heard Miss Hollis. I don't have that $20, but I would like to be a part of that training. Please, please. My number is 357-8383. So you can call me with regards to the training. Or if, as a result of being on this program and promoting Pink Rain, I'm sure you've seen our flyers. You've seen us on Facebook. I've done some live. We're going to be any and everywhere because we want to sound the alarm. We don't want just Miss Hollis in Bermuda sounding the alarm for Bermuda, and we're right in Nassau. And this is where the challenge is. Come on, people. If she can be intimately involved all the way from Bermuda, we're at home. We're right here. So let's get involved. Let's get involved. Yeah. Let me give that number again, and then I'm going to allow Ms. Hollis to give her numbers and her contact again. Like I said, the event is Pink Rain. We're going to be painting the place pink. So come with your pink outfit, whether it's pink or white. We're going to be having an experience. It's not an event. It is an experience. So come on time. We're starting on time. We're telling you it's going to rain. So you want to be a part of the rain experience. We're appealing to sponsors. We're asking for our counselors, our intercessors. We're asking for any and everyone. One thing that everyone can do is pray, because we know that there's no power without prayer. So please, please pray for this event, and then pray about our training event. It's happening in November. It's going down. Like I said, my organization is on board. Ms. Hollis is ready. We just need the people. That's all we need. We need the people. So Ms. Hollis, back over to you. Give us that information in terms of what's your contact, how they can reach out to you.
Sure. So the best way is email saveourchildrenalliance@gmail.com. Alliance, ALLIANCE @gmail.com, lowercase. Once you email me, I will respond right back to you as soon as possible. I did see a question. I think she said she's a teacher.
Before you do, I think there's
Go
a
ahead,
lady,
Dave.
Latoya. Latoya,
Yes.
can you unmute your mic and share what you wanted to share?
Yes.
We have about 4 minutes before we go off the air. Latoya?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm happy that you mentioned about the training for, because I'm a teacher, and I have had a situation where there was a child in my class. She was abused by her father, okay? And she came to me and she told me about it. However, I'm a person who is afraid of the court, right? Because usually when students come to you and tell you those things, then you are also one of the witnesses, or you have to give a statement. So I got caught up in this situation. I'm afraid of court, to be honest. And the child has explained to other persons that she was abused by her father, but I was the only person she mentioned. She made mention of. Anyway, I was trying to avoid going to the police station, and I almost was subpoenaed to go to the police station to provide that report. And so I became as I told you, I'm afraid of the court, right? Because I'm saying this child can go in the court and say anything, you understand, which can be used against you. And then because you may not have the expertise, in what will transpire in the court, it makes it a little bit challenging for you as a teacher, because you're not really a guidance counselor. You're not the guidance counselor. Sometimes they don't want to talk to the guidance counselor about these situations. And so it makes me take a step back a bit, because I was like, I'm not going to be doing this because I don't want to end up in the courthouse. So I said, if you have such a sensitive issue, I would prefer if you refer it to the guidance counselor, but they don't always want to talk to the guidance counselors because they don't see them as too confidential. You understand? And so I don't know. I'm just so happy that you mentioned that there is training for that, because we as teachers, we really need to be privy to how we can deal with students who are being molested by their relatives or anyone for that matter.
That, if I can say briefly, I understand and empathize with what you're talking about. However, I think it's mandated in the law as professionals that you have to report. So this training talks about that too, how to do it responsibly. I know sometimes, obviously you don't want to be dragged in, or someone probably threaten you, and, sometimes kids, but whenever, from experience and statistics, children remain silent about abuse. If you talk to most adult survivors, they were silent about it. And until they get much older in life or still facing the trauma, they then come out and speak about it. And it's still an ongoing healing process. However, think about, you could save a child from something worse. I understand how you feel, like you say, you're afraid of the court, but it is your moral responsibility. And I think it's part of the law in the Bahamas that professionals report cases of abuse. And I think, the law or the police. Okay.
Okay, Shervonne, Latoya, I have to cut, but we will remain on Zoom for another 10, 15 minutes. I have to sign off the radio. It's like a minute to 5. You've been listening to the program Transforming Lives on Global 99.5, Cable TV 974, Facebook, Zoom, and YouTube. If you're still listening, you can WhatsApp me at 4336917. I'll share the link, and you can join by Facebook, YouTube, or Zoom. Dave Williams, Jackie Gardner, Transforming Lives on Global 99.5, Cable TV 974. We're encouraging you to join us every Sunday, same time, same place. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Yes, so getting back to the respondent. It is uncomfortable, and I'm not saying you should jeopardize your comfort, However, the child came to you because obviously she built up that trust with you. And you know, sometimes, most times that happen, a child may tell a total stranger than talk with their parent, because perhaps them and their parent don't have that close relationship. That's going back to what Jackie was saying. It's important that you have those conversations with a child. I mean, my grandniece was 5 years old when I had the conversation. She shocked me when she started to ask me what is her body parts. And I called her mom, who was my niece, and I said, are you comfortable with me explaining it to her? I mean, she came to me of all people. And she said, sure. And I went and I tell her what it is. And I tell her, what? Don't let no one touch you there. And I just got into I'm speaking about her body zones and safety and all of that. You know, if someone touched this, tell your mom, tell whatnot. And even to this day, she remembered I said that to her. She's like, Auntie, you say don't let no one touch here, right? And not these, right? I said, oh my God.
Yeah.
So kids are wise. I don't know the age of the child, but if you reported it, that's the first
She
step.
was about 14 years old.
Yeah.
And while she was going through primary school, she
Yeah.
said to her primary school teacher that she was being molested and all of that. And
Wow.
well, that's what I was told. I wasn't so sure. Eventually, though, the case was thrown off because she had migrated elsewhere, and then they decided to make amends. The father and her decided to make amends, and they decided that they wouldn't go through with it. So I don't know what transpired after that, but honestly, I was afraid, and because of that, I've said to my students, not that I make referrals, right? So I'll say I'll refer them to the guidance counselor. Sometimes I know I feel badly about it, but sometimes just procure yourself to save yourself. Sometimes you just have to do what you have to do, because you know sometimes you get into certain situations that you're so innocent about, and then you know, and I realize that the court can be so sensitive as it relates to the to children, and if that child goes into that court and says something that is different from what it is, it can get you into problems. You understand what I'm saying? So it's very sensitive. It's not that I wouldn't want to help. It's not like I wouldn't want to listen to them. But when it comes on to getting involved in the court and not knowing what will transpire in the court, it makes it really complicated and frightening as well, and threatening as a teacher.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So I would entreat you to get the training, because the training do speak of that aspect, and they do have teachers and all of that in the videos who speak of stuff like that, how to deal with it when a child approaches you, to responsibly deal with it, you know, without causing a disarray within the homes and whatnot. Because like you say, you know, and one thing this training teaches you, whenever someone comes to you, let's say a child in the case of this training, and tell you they're being molested, believe them. Nothing worse. And I've spoken, like I say, to adult survivors when they would have tried to speak to their parents, try to speak to someone who tell them, oh, you're lying, you know, you just, you know, little brazen little girl, etc., etc. Nothing cuts or further traumatizes anyone, be it a child or an adult, when they're not believed. So even though, you know, you weren't there when it occurred, let them know that you believe them and it's not their fault. That is something that,
I listened, I accommodated her. Even during my lunch period, when she wanted to talk, I would let her know that she could come by and she could sit and talk with me and so forth. I avail myself like that to my students. But after having had that encounter, it made me become very, you know, very, very sensitive to that, and decided that, listen, I am not going to just, you know, get involved like that. I prefer to do the referrals, refer them to the guidance counselor and let them deal with it, because as I said, I don't like the court.
Understood. I would still entreat you though, because you are a professional, that children are under your, you know, you are responsible for the children once they're in school, etc. I would say do the training. It is so much you would learn from it. Actually, in Bermuda, it's mandatory. That's how I got to do the training. I started a camp a summer camp with teenage girls, like you say, 14, 15. My camp was called Camp Confidence. So I taught girls about, affirmation,
Right.
confidence, all aspects. And I had to do it. So Bermuda has come from afar. I'm telling you, right now it's mandatory. Teachers, every school over here is fully trained, police officers, judges, lawyers. It's mandatory. It's mandated now into the law. So I would
And
say
that is why I was saying that this training
take
is
up the
very
training,
imperative.
even if you feel.
Yes, and that's why I'm saying this type of training
So
is
it-
very imperative, especially for people like myself, teachers and police officers and stuff,
Yes.
who have to deal with these
Yes.
children on the whole.
Yes. Yes.
So I really do appreciate that these trainings are being offered, and that persons,
Yeah.
individuals should, hone on this so
Yeah.
that they can, be knowledgeable about how to deal with education. And one of the things is that the young lady said it was only, I am the only one she had spoken to when she had spoken to other persons. So and so that made me like, a bit shaken, because I'm saying she spoke to other persons. She never called other person's name, but yet it was me. And then I was like, what is this girl going to go in the court and say to them? Is she going to say something different? Because if your statement does not align with what the child says, you can, and they're going to believe the child over you. They tend to state that the child doesn't lie, but that is not always the case, because children do tell lies. And they,
I agree, but our thing is not to really be judgmental. Our thing is because, like, as you find out, she was telling you the truth, and it happens to be where you were, that person she would have spoken to. So that's why I said, become empowered, get trained. So at least you would know if it comes, you'll be prepared, you'll be equipped, you'll have your tools, and say, well, okay, wow, I remember on the video, I remember in the training, we discussed this and that. I think I'm more comfortable in handling if someone comes to me and report, because, we could witness things too. What are we going to do? Just freeze? We are responsible for the children. That is our moral and ethical responsibility. So any adult, whether it's your child or not, but I understand your concerns. I'm not, I understand your concerns in terms of the court, and like you say,
it's not that I don't believe the child and the case surrounding the child, that the child's father did molest the child, but it's just that I was just sensitive to the fact that if the child goes into that court, since the child had told them that I was the only person she spoke to when she had spoken to other persons, I'm saying to myself, what could she possibly go into the court and say to them other than what the statement that I had to give at the police station? I'm saying, what if she went in there and her statement does not align with my statement? How would I be able to deal with such an issue in the court, knowing that the court would be more on her side than the court would be on my side, and understanding that I was just trying to be a teacher who was helpful to her? You understand what I'm saying? So somebody trying to help someone just out of innocence end up with the law, behind them, as if to say then they are the ones who actually did the crime, when you did not do anything other than trying to help the child.
Exactly. Well, the whole point is that even the judges in Bermuda are trained, and the attorneys. So everybody needs the training. Like I said, it's for an adult. And I think if they know as well, they can be better able to hand down, no disrespect, their rulings. But we lack the training. I'm going to be honest. We lack that training.
So when is this training, may I ask again, so that I can...
Email me. It's in November. Debbie and I have to put our dates together. I don't work for SCAR. I have my own business and profession. So normally it's on a Sunday. We find that Sundays work best for most persons. Sunday, late afternoon or whatnot. Sometimes we do weekly training depending on an evening, maybe a Friday evening, etc. But once you email me, I will be better able to, once we decide on the date. It's Save Our Children Alliance. I put it in the chat.
Yes, it's in the chat.
Save Our Children Alliance at gmail.com. Yeah,
All
lowercase.
right.
So just
Well, thank you
email
so
me
much.
and then I can forward you.
Thank you so much once again, Ms. Hollis. You've been, you stayed with us over the time.
Yeah.
I know Sunday is a very special day for most persons, a little bit of rest is trying to get in. So I'm mindful of that. So I'm going to bring this to a close. But once again, on behalf of Transforming Lives, you will be back here before someone said, wow, okay. So thank you. Okay, so good feedback. We love that kind of feedback, Ms. Hollis. Somebody's really grateful for your contribution to the discussion. Please, you have an open door. We have an open door policy. You can just walk right out. So make sure you are part of the another one, a training exercise, promotion, because the actual exercise is in November. So make sure, you're with us to promote once again before that time that is scheduled. Ladies and gentlemen, Radio Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, we're always so happy to have you in the house. It was our honor, our pleasure to spend this time with you. And knowledge is always power. So we are happy, elated to impart to you valuable knowledge. I've been Jackie Gardner, co-host of the show, Transforming Lives. And for final comment, Mr. Dave Williams. Over to you, Dave. I think
I just want to thank those of you for tuning in live on Global 99.5 on Cable TV 974, Facebook, YouTube, and also on Zoom. So we'll see you next week, same time, same station. We'll be talking about protocols, whether in the church, wherever it is. So until next week, have a wonderful afternoon.